May 23rd, my bestie's birthday, 2022. We will call the meeting to order at 7 p.m. Sharp. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And that moment of silence, please. All right, so our first item on the agenda is, as usual, public comments. I'm assuming that everyone in our gallery this evening is here for the happiest time I've been waiting for a long time. If I'm wrong, are there any public comments to be made? Okay. So we'll begin with our consent agenda. That did include 2 meetings minutes, including the minutes from our public hearing on May 3rd, as well as our meeting minutes from May 9th. I'm going to actually pull the May 3rd public hearing minutes because I waited until the 11th hour and without a clerk at the desk to offer edits to the minutes from the public hearing. So tonight what we'll be voting on as far as the consent agenda is concerned is just the minutes from May 9th. I assume everyone's gotten a chance to review those. Okay.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you, Councilman Grassley.
Second.
Second, Councilman Schofield. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's everyone. Just for the heck of it, any opposed? Okay. Unanimous approval of the meeting minutes from May 9th. First item of the new business, and the only item of new business on this evening's agenda, is our Sykesville Police Department promotions. And I'm so very proud to be part of what's about to happen here this evening. It is with a great deal of excitement that I asked Chief Spaulding to come to the microphone to do something that has been years and years in the making. All right.
Amen, Mayor.
All right.
You're stealing all my thunder, though.
No. You've got more thunder than that, I'm sure of it.
Because I, too, have waited a long time for this. Since starting here in May of 2014 and seeing the need to grow the department and get to a point where we had consistent supervisors and a hierarchy that made sense, it's been a long time in the making. So I really wanted to start by thanking you and the council members and Joe and everyone else who had a hand in this for making this a reality, because it's a very special night. I think Joe and I were talking earlier about wearing our Class A uniforms, our dress uniforms, and I said to him, I can remember every time that I got promoted. Lieutenant John Hill's here from the state police, and he can acknowledge this. Every time I got promoted within the state police, and they made a big ceremony out of it, and to this day I remember each and every time. It was a very special occasion, something I'll always remember. And so we thought we'd make it special for these gentlemen here tonight, and I'm sure they'll always remember it as well. So
Sure.
Thank you for indulging us with that.
My pleasure. And I just want to say that you're running the show here for this part, but any pictures that want to be had or taken during or throughout any of this, no hesitations. Take as much time as you want and take advantage of the format here this evening. It's what I want to see.
Thank you.
Cool.
Yeah. We'll take lots of pictures.
Yeah.
For some, promotion means many different things to many different people. In the law enforcement profession, it's a reward for performance, productivity. It's a reward for tenure, for loyalty to the organization. But I think the most important thing is it's the organization's way of saying, we think you're ready to take on higher levels of responsibility. And I think you'll agree that the 3 officers that are being promoted tonight have certainly displayed that they are ready to take on higher levels of responsibility. And I have a lot of things planned for them, believe me. Especially this one right here. So really I'm not going to get on my soapbox here, but what I wanted to say is with these 3 promotions, as well as hopefully a few in the near future, this police department will, for the first time in history, be fully staffed, fully operational, modern police department that can certainly better serve the residents of our community. So again, I thank you for this. Without your support, obviously, we wouldn't be here. And without the additional officers that we've hired, this wouldn't be possible, because of course you can't have, all chiefs, no Indians, if that's an appropriate thing to say. But you certainly have to have an equal number of officers and what we call, span of control, so that each supervisor has 1 or 2 officers within their control that they supervise, and that's exactly what we're going to have. So very, very excited. So let's start with Jason Kirk. And the reason I start with him is because he was actually the first person I hired when I became chief here. You may have heard this story before. But he's turned out to be an incredible asset to me personally, to the police department, and to the town. Not only, as we talked about the performance and the tenure and loyalty, he's led, as you know, just about, I think, 7 out of his last 8 years. He was hired in, what was it, April of what was it, Jason? September 2014, right, because I came here in May. And since then, he's been the officer of the year every year except for 1 year. I think the other officer beat you the 1 year. But so the performance is there. The loyalty is certainly there. He's always been willing to do whatever we've asked of him to do. And I guess, and you've heard this before as well, his greatest asset to me and to the department is what he does behind the scenes. I mean, anything technical, Jason fixes. Whether it's cars, computers, cameras, speed trailers, radar, LiDAR, I mean, the list goes on and on. Jason is just a phenomenal asset to the department. Just today was working on installing parts of our new in-car and body-worn camera infrastructure in one of our cars. And the guy's just phenomenal. I mean, he gets everything done, never complains. Again, he's been loyal to me and to this department, and very deserving of this promotion. So, without further ado, before I get too emotional, I want to present him with his badge, promoting him to the rank of sergeant, as well as his ID card. That's a nice shiny badge, too. Well, we'll see. Badge, I'll pin that on him here in a minute, as well as his new ID card and his chevrons, which indicates he's the rank of sergeant. He'll have to have somebody, Erica, maybe sew on for him. And I meant to acknowledge the people in the audience. Forgive me. Jason's wife, Erica, is here. I'll introduce the other ones as we go. But Jason, again, I think I've said it all to you. Thank you for your loyalty and your support. And
thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Jason is the future of this department. You know, when I leave one day and Sergeant leaves and Corporal leaves, people like Jason and our other officers will be here to carry the torch. So I feel very strongly that the town and the department will be in good hands with Jason. So. What is it, John, in the military? If you stick him in the chest, that's good luck, right? With the pinning. There. That's a nice shiny badge. All right. Oh yeah, take your ID. You're going to need that now.
Congratulations, Corporal.
Sergeant.
Right away.
All right, Carl, since you're right here, please step up, sir. Carl is here with his wife and his sons Daniel and Brendan. I pointed to you and said Daniel. I apologize. Carl got here just before I did, March of 2013. He was part of that group, along with Sean, that kind of kept the department going during the meek times when they were low on staffing. Certainly prior to my arrival, I guess in the 9 months until I was hired, between myself and the former chief, Carl was part of the group that kept things operational, things running here. So he deserves a lot of credit for that. Not to mention all that he does on a daily basis. He's actually been supervising a squad, which is really a sergeant's duty, supervising a squad for the last 7 years, just as a corporal. Carl is probably one of the most selfless, and emphasis on selfless, people I've ever met. I'm sure his family can attest to that. He'll jump in and fill a shift or come in on his day off or whatever it takes to make sure his subordinates have time off or a vacation day or sick day, whatever the case may be. He's very, very selfless in that regard. And he's earned a lot of respect from me and the other members of the department for doing that. He does a lot of things in addition to that. He's filled in on a shift for the last 8 months until we hired Officer Revelo, handling all the calls and doing what any patrol officer would normally do. One of his biggest duties is our grant coordinator. And as anyone that can attest to that knows about dealing with grants, there's a lot involved in that, a lot of follow-ups, a lot of paperwork, a lot of reports. He's done a phenomenal job of overseeing our grants for probably the past at least 5 or 6 years, at least, if not longer.
He gave it to me 2 weeks after I got
It's keeping track.
Welcome to the club. Here you go.
So again, without further ado, I can't think of anyone, the three of these that are more deserving of being promoted. Again, he's certainly shown that he's more than prepared to assume the duties of a sergeant, and it's a great honor for me to be able to promote him to the rank of sergeant. Again, a nice new shiny badge. Why don't I just go ahead and take that out and pin that on you now to make it all official. I'm going to need my glasses.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations. Last but not least, Sean Kilgore, step forward, please. All right. Oh, you know what I forgot to do too? Daggone it. All right. Give these to you guys as well. Maybe we'll get a picture and put those in. This certificate's just to document the fact. All right. Well, for those of you who don't know this young man, he was hired in August of 1997. Wow. You're that old? Really?
Not quite as you.
Very true. Promotion isn't official yet. Promoted to corporal in July of 2004 and then promoted to sergeant in December of 2006. So he's been at his current rank for the last 16 years. 16 years. It's a long time. Sean has been and continues to be the one constant for this police department over his past 25 years. I mean, a lot of people have come and gone. How many chiefs? 3, or at least three police chiefs. And Sean, again, has been the one person that has been here, has remained here. His loyalty to the department and the town is unsurpassed. What's amazing is you just don't see people of his quality and his character staying at a small municipal police department for their entire career. I mean, they jump ship for a couple extra dollars here, or better working conditions there, or closer to home, or whatever the reason. It's a revolving door in many police departments. So he is truly a rarity in that he has committed his entire career to this town, except for what he did prior to this, but which was
3
just,
months.
yeah, that doesn't count. No. So he is truly very deserving of this promotion to lieutenant, a rank that we haven't had for many years. As a lieutenant, he is basically my assistant chief. He runs the department in my absence, which I hope is going to be frequent.
That's not why we're doing this.
But no, truly, we, as council, as town manager, as a chief, have to have utmost confidence in him to promote him to this rank and to put him in charge. And he's done it before. He was the interim chief here between my predecessor and myself for, I believe, 9 months. So he's certainly proven that he's capable of doing that. And so it is a great honor to promote Sean Kilgore to the rank of lieutenant. Lieutenant Hill will show you, he's wearing what we call bars, which is 1 bar for a lieutenant. and something he's looked forward to a long time. You better stop. And I have looked forward a long time to giving these to him. So, yes. Stop it. See, John, you work in these small departments, you get to know these guys so darn well, and it's a little bit different from state police. A nice new shiny badge.
Let's see that. Yeah.
That he will, I can assure you, will keep super shiny. Because that's what he does. So, and I've neglected to introduce your family, Amy and Nick and Maddie. Right there. I'm sorry. Is here today with him as well. All right. He must have known this was coming because when I bought him a new shirt, he didn't sew on his old sergeant jacket. Perfect. It was a good sign.
All about fiscal responsibility.
That's awesome.
Thank you all again.
For sure. Before, I guess, can we get everybody together?
That would be great.
Maybe if whoever's going to take a picture, stand behind the table.
Yeah.
Don't mind if I do. Yeah, and I think if everybody, now I have to center it back around. I think it'd be best to be maybe with their, after I brought you back
In front of the flag?
In front of the flag. Can officers come up here with your backs to the flag?
You want hats or no? My hair looks a bit false. We don't want to cover that up.
You want them or no?
One with you, one without?
Yeah.
Yeah, you should. Yeah. We're in time.
Okay. Right in the middle.
Close the party.
Good.
Yes,
Oh, sorry. Old cross.
Shift to your left.
Oh, okay.
Your right, our left. There you go. Shift a little bit more. There you go. Keep going. Right there. That's great.
Should we put two big guns beside each other?
Yes.
Well, we're out of balance, it was 3 out of 4 that were big, so.
May I get a picture with you?
please.
Stand right next to the guys shorty here.
Sorry. You want your certificates? Sean, do you want your
Yeah, that'd be a good
certificates?
thing. No.
Congratulations, Lieutenant. Thank you so much, Chief. Congratulations, Sergeant.
There you go. One more with the certificates? Or?
Yeah, please.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Need it. Going back, getting under my skin like that.
Did you get one? Okay.
Your flash didn't go off that time. Just so you
I'm
know.
good, thank you.
Okay. Just making sure.
I didn't want to, No, cap it up there and get mine. Thanks. I'll bring that one.
I get back to work.
Congratulations all.
Congratulations to you too.
Warm up there. Oh, thank you.
Congratulations, well deserved. Thank you all very much.
No problem. Thank you. Exciting. Thank you.
If it's not raining, it might be too dark, and we'll have to try to get pictures of the family. Yeah. Fill that in or any part of the building. Yeah.
Very well.
Good.
Hey, you're on TV.
Behave yourself.
Still?
Yes.
Probably, I'm sure it doesn't
Okay.
matter.
All right.
Actually, you know, Jeff, our auxiliary lieutenant,
Yeah.
said he was gonna, log in from Africa. to watch
No
the-
way.
Cool. Wow, that's awesome.
Wow.
What we done?
Yeah,
It's pretty late in Africa right
pictures
now.
of family.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're gonna try.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Oh,
Are you, are you a little, well, then, we'll get a couple with you.
from the auxiliary police.
Sorry, Steve.
Oh, no worries. Do you want to stand for your Perfect. Yeah.
Huh.
You're good.
How are you?
What's going on in Mexico?
Still finishing up the stuff.
I'll do them with slash.
Christian's brother's getting married in our backyard in 2 weeks.
Oh, cool.
Sunrise wedding in the backyard.
That was, now you're really
Trying
bright.
to like
I
crack
think
the
I'll
whip.
go
One with a certificate?
Minor
Like
touches.
that? Just the two
Yeah.
of them?
Well, that's exciting. She and her sister fly down on Saturday, and I go down like 5 days later. So I'm literally just like flying in for the wedding stuff, and then flying out again.
Jason,
Stay close. I want to.
please. And thank you.
Please.
Don't move. You're like the groom. Just stand there until, you know, until we tell you.
Been here and done that twice.
Then you should know by now. Come on. 1, 2, 3. All right. Yep, please. Just Carl.
I don't believe that. Actually.
You gotta get Carl in.
I'll have to have her tell me that. I don't believe that.
Same with the chief.
Yeah.
Sorry, sir.
All right. Act like we like each other.
I was gonna say. I think you're allowed to do that now.
And I don't know if I properly recognize Lieutenant Hill, and he probably doesn't want me to, but John is a lieutenant, a bear commander at College Park, obviously with the state police. And you guys, your kids refer to him as Uncle John, so he's very close with Sean's family. John and I worked together many years ago, played ball together a few times, and very good man, and very nice of him to take time out of his busy schedule to be here tonight.
Very much so. And Chief, can I ask you, I don't know that all of the council has actually met Officer Young. If you could, yeah,
Yes.
if,
Pull me over.
yes, please.
Who are you repping?
Well, I'm very happy to introduce you to Officer Annalise Young. I'm very happy to say that just last week, she finished her field training. And so she is now patrolling on her own, so watch out.
That's Red Mustang.
No, she's doing a phenomenal job.
I was
Really
gonna say,
happy to have
already
her.
she's been there?
She's hit the ground running and not a hiccup. Well,
Don't tell anybody.
yeah, but she's done a phenomenal job.
I know that Chief isn't going to draw attention to this, but I certainly will. Officer Young is our first female Sykesville police officer. Formally welcome you aboard.
Yes, welcome.
Doing a great
Make
job.
sure that you drive by all of our houses, know what we drive, know what we look like.
I know you're recording the PSR several
With your
times.
vehicle and your
Clearly
face,
it's about
she
right.
knows.
Especially my son and his truck.
Oh dear.
Glad to have her. Very
Yes,
nice.
sir.
Nice to
Thank
meet you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
welcome.
Nice to meet you.
Great.
Welcome.
Stay safe.
Thank you all.
Thank
A
you.
pleasure.
Congratulations.
Okay,
Cleared
so we'll
out.
move on to our next item on our agenda,
Maybe, yeah.
which is an item of unfinished business. It's our,
All right, they're a little excited.
That's all right.
Well earned. Should we shush them?
they're leaving. So the first item of unfinished business is a public hearing and an opportunity to consider, discuss, and act on fiscal year 2023 tax rate. The tax rate for the coming fiscal year will remain at the current level of 33 cents per $100 of assessed value. However, it is because this is a higher rate than the constant yield rate, we are required to hold a public hearing prior to the adoption of that tax rate. So I assume, Joe, you'll have some expansion upon that to do, or are we set for open
No,
hearing?
that's exactly right. Again, the reason we have to hold a public hearing is just because we are exceeding that tax rate. I will say the constant yield rate, I want to say I might be off by a a fraction here, but I believe it was 0.316 was what the constant yield rate was supposed to be.
Okay, versus the 33.
Correct.
Okay. So at this point, I'd like to call for a motion to open that public hearing for the fiscal year 2023 tax rate.
So moved.
Thank you. Councilman Leo Keenan,
Second.
President Carter with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so that public hearing is now open at 7:25 p.m. There is 0 people in the gallery with the exception of our treasurer, so I'm assuming there's no public comment, unless that would come from, who is also a resident. Is there a public comment there from Craig? No.
I'm worried he's wearing just plain blue socks today, so that just.
I've noticed the silver trim on the black.
There you go.
It's ferocious,
Okay.
conservative.
Okay.
So with there being no comments from the public, you know what's next? Motion
Motion to close the public hearing.
Thank you, Councilman Keenan with the motion to close. Second, Councilman Dyer, all in favor of closing the public hearing?
Aye.
None opposed. Unanimously, we close the public hearing for fiscal year tax rate 2023. And so now at this point, we need to. Yes. Now at this point, this is where it's a little odd because we're about to discuss and act upon the ordinance for our actual 2023 budget, which includes the tax rate. Yes. So we'll begin now with item number 2 on unfinished business. Yes.
We don't have to consider act on our own on the tax separate from.
I don't believe so. That's going to be included in the.
Because
it's included. Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, just it's separated on our agenda. I just want to make sure
We
we're
do
not
have to have
missing
a
a
separate
step.
public hearing just
Yeah.
for the budget.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. It was confusing to me as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
But thank you. That helps for anyone who's watching. So at this point, we'll be looking to have a public hearing to consider, act, discuss on ordinance number 2022-02 fiscal year 2023 budget, and ordinance to adopt and approve the budget and set tax rates for the town of Sykesville, Maryland for fiscal year 2022, fiscal year 2023. Before opening the public hearing, I just want to point out to the council that we have been in discussion, point out to the public that the council has been in discussion about fiscal year 2023 budget over the course of the previous 2 meetings, and having been presented the draft budget and associated budget book and the draft fiscal year 2023 to 2027 capital improvement plan back in April. So that said, I'll offer Joe an opportunity if he has any additional thoughts to share.
Just one, I consider a very minor change, mainly to the capital side of the budget, was we had spread out the purchase of 2 new zero-turn lawnmowers, one in current fiscal year, one proposed for next fiscal year. The one we were supposed to buy in this fiscal year had actually been delayed because of supply chain issues and this and that. So when we actually went to purchase it, they had 2 in stock. So we went ahead and purchased both. And we took the one out of next fiscal year's budget and moved it in, which you'll see in the budget revision.
Okay.
And the next item.
Good deal.
That's the only change.
Very good. So I'm going to ask for a motion to open this public hearing.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman Grassley. A second.
Second.
Councilman Schofield with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that public hearing is now open at 7:28.
Motion to close the public
Thank
hearing.
you, sir.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. The public hearing is now closed 21 seconds after it was opened. It is actually just turned 7:29. And before calling for a motion to approve ordinance number 2022-02 fiscal year 2023, does council have any remaining unanswered questions for staff?
Nope.
Okay. I'm looking to the left.
Motion.
No? Okay, go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2022-02 budget and tax rate for FY 2023.
Awesome.
Second.
Okay, so the motion is made by Councilman Grassley and President Carter with the second. All in favor? Well, I'm sorry, before I call for a vote, as per protocol, is there any need for any further discussion amongst the council?
You know, I just want to say that I'm really excited about this budget because it's kind of the opening of the door to some really cool town activities where we're going to be working on town infrastructure projects that needed to happen for a long time, but then also some new projects that are going to be happening within the town based on the comp plan. And really encourage the public to take a look at it. because it's really exciting what's going to happen over the next few years.
Awesome. Yeah, it's that budget book will be the quick and easy and dirty way to see what's coming up this year as far as capital outlay projects and such. So thank you for that, Councilman Schofield.
And I do have to say that's the first time I've ever heard anybody say they're excited about our budget. but it's such a simpler process now that we have the revenue and extra revenue. In years past, a dozen years or more, we were counting paper clips to make the budget match, and we don't have that problem anymore.
It's a good time to be in leadership positions in Sykesville.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. We owe that to a lot of people before us, and so this is great. So now I can call for that vote. All in favor of ordinance number 2022-02, the fiscal year 2023 budget and tax rate setting?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so that unanimously passes and is approved. And for the fun of it, because I can't stop using the gavel this evening, we'll do that. Our first item of new business.
Second item.
I'm sorry. How is it listed on here as number one? That's my boo-boo. Our second item of new business, thank you, President Carter, is the introduction of ordinance number 2022-04, fiscal year 2022 budget amendments. Having just adopted fiscal year 23 budget, we're now poised to discuss our second and final fiscal year 2022 budget amendments. Joe.
Thank you, Mayor. So again, as we've done in previous fiscal years, this is our final budget revision for FY22. This brings really all of our revenue and expenses into what, instead of what's being proposed, what's being actually spent. So a couple of highlights just to point out, and I'll certainly be open to any other questions anybody has about any specific line items, but most of this revision is kind of geared around an increase in property tax receipts that we've received, an increase in impact fees that we've received given all the building that's going on at Warfield, and then finally extra grant revenue that these are projects that we've spent money on that we're now receiving the reimbursement for. So those are the largest revenues that we've seen come in. As far as expenses go, obviously some of those capital projects that we've finished up, such as the splash pad, those are higher expenses in those categories. Oil and gas is a big one, both in the Public Works Department and in the Public Safety Department, so we've had to increase both of those. And then I've already mentioned the zero-turn mowers for the capital budget. So again, we did see an increase in the Public Works line item for this fiscal year, but then again, it was reduced next fiscal year. So again, those are the highlights. If there's any questions about any kind of specific line item, I'm happy to answer any of those if there are any.
No?
I don't.
It's pretty straightforward.
Yep.
Okay.
Why else to buy them both when you could?
Easy enough.
Good to go. So at this point then, with no questions for staff, is there a motion to approve ordinance number 2022-04, fiscal year 2022 budget amendments?
So moved.
Thank you, President Carter.
Second.
Oh, I'm going to give it over here.
Yeah, give it to
Lisa.
Lisa.
She's being very timid, but I did see the hand. So second the motion by Councilwoman Guroff. All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed. So fiscal year 2022 budget amendments have passed and approved unanimously. Our third item of new business is to consider, discuss, and act on multiple documents for the Circuit Rider program. Little background, for several years now, Sykesville has participated in the Circuit Rider program for the Circuit Rider program for small municipalities through the Department of Housing and Community Development's Office of Neighborhood Revitalization. This program's purpose is promoting economic and community development in towns with limited staffing capabilities. This evening we decide whether the town continues its participation in the Circuit Rider program. And I turn to Joe for more information about the program or the benefits to continuing this program.
Sure, I'll just mention this, that again, we've utilized the Circuit Rider program mainly for all of our grant projects. So all of the different grants that come through the town really run through the Circuit Rider's office. And again, with additional spending being contemplated for next fiscal year with the budget we just approved, just the reliance on this position is going to be that much more important. So we have included in the FY23 budget all of the costs associated with this program and recommend approval tonight.
Awesome, thank you. Any questions for staff, beginning on my right?
Joe's still happy with the program and
Yes.
helping out?
It is, and I mean, again, it's basically like we're getting a full-time employee for the cost of maybe a third of an employee. So again, it is very beneficial to what we're doing here.
Excellent.
Anyone else?
I had one question. What does small town mean from a circuit rider perspective? And are we at risk of not being a small town with what's going on over at Warfield, or what could potentially go on at Warfield?
It is a good question. I believe the program limits it to 5,000 population. So as we grow as a community, certainly we have I guess
Potential.
if you want to call it a potential or an issue with losing our ability to qualify for this program. But I don't know if they go on estimates for the census or on what the actual census says. So, the fact that we just went through this, it would be the next cycle before we would really have an issue. Plus, there would have to be a lot of additional growth in Warfield for this to actually happen, and then of course that would have to take effect before we would actually cross that threshold.
Thank you.
We actually lost population from 2010 to 2020. It's weird.
Slightly.
Yeah.
Joe, can I just have it on record? What is our contribution towards a circuit rider? It's $1,250. Is it per annual?
Yeah, the $1,250 for that goes straight to the MRDC program. That's the organization that actually runs the circuit rider program. The town actually has another $25,000 contribution that we give to help supplement that.
Okay.
To the circuit rider.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you for the thoughtful question. Anyone else? Okay, so I would refer the council to the staff report for this agenda item's resolution number in order a motion to be made.
I will move to approve resolution 2022-03 and authorize the mayor to sign all necessary documents related to the town's continued participation in the circuit rider program.
Okay, so a motion by Councilman Keenan.
Second.
Second, Councilman Schofield. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so that resolution 2022-03 is approved. And we move on to the next item on the agenda, which is to consider, discuss, and act on auditor engagement. This final item of new business is really a housekeeping item, so I'm going to let Joe talk to us about that.
Well, this allows us to enter into a 3-year contract with our new auditing firm, LSWG. Again, I'm used to saying that out loud. It is a little more expensive than the contract we had previously, but again, well within what we expect these auditing costs to cost. There is a modest increase from year over year, from fiscal year, by about $500. Again, well within what we expected from a budgeting standpoint. So we are actually pretty excited to enter into this contract. Again, it's always good to get fresh eyes on old books so that we can make sure that we're doing everything that we're supposed to be doing and stay in compliance with all of the rules and regulations as they equate to municipal finance. So again, fully recommend approval of the proposal, and like the previous item, authorize the mayor to execute the engagement letter with LSWG for the town's annual audit.
Okay. Any questions for staff? Beginning again on the right.
No.
Okay. Anyone down here?
Just a quick question. This firm has come recommended by other municipalities?
Let's see. We didn't speak with any municipality directly. There were several letters that, like reference letters that they had provided, and again, it was really just our interaction with them.
And they're familiar with municipality?
Yes, they do other audits. As a matter of fact, I want to say they used to do Frederick County, and several other municipalities, but it's more in the Montgomery County.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Anyone else? Go ahead.
I'd move to approve the proposal, as presented, and authorize the mayor to execute an engagement letter with LSWG PA for the town's annual audit.
Thank you. Is there a second? All right, so the motion is made by Councilman Schofield and is seconded by Councilwoman Guroff. All in favor?
Aye.
Again, a unanimous passage of a resolution. And that is our final gavel, I think, until the actual final gavel this evening. That moves us to announcements and reports. I'll begin with those. The next meeting is slated for Tuesday, June 21st, 2022. That is an irregular date for our town council meetings. We only have one in June, July, and August each month of the summer, and this actually is scheduled for the third week of the month due to scheduling conflicts with the Maryland Municipal League Conference, among other conflicts.
And it will be on Tuesday.
And it will be, yes, and of course, again, it is a Tuesday and not a Monday, so we've got a funny week and a funny day. Because Juneteenth is Monday, celebrated Monday the 20th, the day before our next meeting. Okay, we have Flag Day?
20th? No? Okay.
No,
Sorry.
no, that's okay. It's Juneteenth and it's not on the 10th, but it is what it is. We have volunteer opportunities available on the Historic District Commission, Board of Zoning Appeals, Police Auxiliary, and Crossing Guard. If you're interested in any of the above, please email town@sykesville.net for more information about volunteering with the town. That brings us to our staff updates, and we will begin with Chief Spaulding with our public safety report.
Good evening, everyone.
Evening again, Chief.
This public safety report covered the period May 2nd to the 15th, and as you can see, a total of 398 events. A few highlights: 3 assist other agency, 9 community policing, 244 patrol checks, again 398 total events. And during that time we had, I think it was 10 incident reports written during that period. If you have any questions about any of those, I'd be more than happy to answer them for you. Yes, ma'am.
2 DUIs.
Lieutenant Kilgore.
That's the first you've said that out loud in public anyway, yeah.
Yeah, his name was on here quite a bit. So he was responsible for both of those arrests, as well as the incident with the motorcycle chase that was listed on there. Okay. He made a great decision in that matter, particularly in light of all that's going on in law enforcement nowadays in terms of liability, by calling off that chase himself and deciding not to chase a motorcycle operator into Howard County. Thankfully, due to his good investigative work as well as Officer Darby, they were able to identify the operator who had been a frequent customer of one of our establishments downtown. And so charges are pending against that person for some of those violations that he committed that night. But in terms of the actual DUIs themselves, I mean, I don't have...
I guess I just noticed that there aren't a lot. So 2 standing out in one report.
Yeah, that's kind of unusual, but again, it's warm weather and busy establishments, and that sort of thing's going to happen. But thankfully, our officers are out there doing their best to remove these people from the roadways.
Well, they're late.
I'm sorry?
They're late.
What do you mean
23 in the evening. One was at 2300 and one was at 100.
Yeah, that's late, but there's still plenty of places open. I mean, that's not unusual for people to be out drinking in those hours.
But those are from establishments on Main Street at that hour, or?
I can't say that for sure.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if they were debriefed fully as to where they came from. I believe one of these, and I'm not sure which one, but one was a person who had left one of the establishments. I know that for a fact.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm not sure about the other one.
And then if I'm reading this right, an attempted burglary in the middle of the day?
Which one is that for? Yeah, one of the other establishments downtown.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you brought that up because I'm happy to say that through the investigation, actually by Officer Young, it was determined that was an unfounded complaint. It was not an actual burglary. It just appeared that it was due to one of the doors being left open overnight. Not a good thing to do. But a delivery driver discovered it the next morning, and it appeared to be some damage to the door, which turned out to be irrelevant. So it wasn't a burglary. Nothing was taken. So we can cross that one off our list.
Thank you.
That's good news.
Yes.
I don't like to hear that.
No.
Yeah.
We actually
those 3 stood out to me. Well, and I did want to commend the officer for not chasing the motorcycle. That's
age, experience, and wisdom.
And restraint is for the public safety. Is
the Lieutenant Kilgore 20 years ago would have chased clear into Pennsylvania. Yeah. But
yes. Good. Anyone else to my left? Okay. All right, great. Chief, do you have any other further words of wisdom to share with us this evening? We're all set?
I've said all I can possibly say for one night.
Chief, thank you for your leadership.
Of course. Thank you for your
We've been talking
support.
about everyone else here this evening, but this is just as big, as much you as it is everyone else that you've given thanks to. So, congratulations.
And a
You
fully,
make it easy, and they make it easy. Honestly.
but also fully staffed
Yeah.
is you. So thank you.
Yeah.
And I just realized it's been 8 years since he came, 8 years this month since he came on. It's
Time
crazy.
flies.
Yes.
Don't you get excited about that? Excited about this full staff. And a lieutenant. Okay, very good.
Chief, you're way young. There's no retirement in your future.
Thank you. You are my favorite council.
Fantastic. So that brings us to council and committee reports. I'll start on my right with anybody that has anything relevant to share with the council about anything it is they'd like to share.
Sure. Downtown Sykesville Connection, the board meeting is actually currently going on right now because of a change in scheduling. The Main Street Conference was last weekend, and Julie and the council president attended. Marilyn, did you go to that as well?
I did. I was going to make mention of that. I sure did. I was invited and happy to be there.
A lot of great information about grant funding, continuing education for board members, and just being able to add to the value of the Main Street program. Farmers Market opened up 2 Sundays ago, and so far they both seem to be very well attended and successful. Sipping on Summer ticket sales are going on. That's July 30th. Golf tournaments being planned. The parade planning is underway. There's a slight hiccup, but we'll address that. And I think the parade will be one of the best attended and have a great number of parade members and floats this year. It should be very nice. And that's July 2nd. I want to say 10 a.m.
Yes.
Yep. And that's it.
Thank you, Councilman Keenan.
I just want to say for the farmers market, I really like how it's been spread out through the town a bit more, and I just want to give DSC props for, you know, I know it's a little bit different than it was before, and it's really nice that you kind of, I don't know, kind of meander through the town, and it makes you want to go into some of the businesses and all of that. So it's really good.
And that was the point. Thanks. They wanted to try to spread it out more. When there was a vendor or two down here by the house insurance agency, they weren't too happy being. They felt like they were isolated down there, so trying to make sure that it's all spread out and the businesses are incorporated as well. And it's great too. The auxiliary working the crossover. I pulled through Sunday morning and they were out there directing traffic. Yep, it was great.
And I got a great rhubarb recipe, and that is very scary for me personally, but a great one nonetheless.
So you've actually made it?
No,
Okay.
no.
All right, well, we'll
But
talk
but it
about
was
that.
but it was a good recipe that we received. So
Very good.
thank you.
Very good. Anything else down here on my right?
I'm good.
So from Parks and Rec, just wanted to recognize the amount of sponsorships. And Jen, if I'm reading this wrong, please correct me if there are any that have come in past the 23rd. But we've received sponsorships for the movies from Sykesville Station, Old Town Mowers, French Twist, and E.W. Beck's at the same level.
Yes.
And 7556 Cafe and In Style Inc.
Nice.
From the next level down.
New ones.
So, yeah, new ones.
I believe we have one more pending.
We have one more pending? Okay.
Great.
So those will be starting soon, and then the splash pad.
Hello. I like to call it the inaugural splash on the pad.
So this Friday, we will be doing the ribbon cutting. Mayor Link will be doing the ribbon cutting, and I believe getting wet.
Well, that's the inaugural splash I'm told about.
There we go.
Yeah, I'll be getting wet. And it's supposed to be cold. So
There you go.
just telling you.
Friday
So-
at 10 o'clock.
Friday at 10 a.m. So yeah,
Can't
unfortunately the kids won't be there. The bigger kids will be in school. Maybe some younger kids will be there. But if people can come out, definitely. Long time coming.
Yes, ma'am.
So
Okay. Thank you. Very good.
And
Oh,
can I
sorry.
just acknowledge,
Yes.
I know there was a question about the Juneteenth.
Yes.
It is a new holiday. It is on June 19th, which is the Sunday, which is why we're celebrating it on the 20th.
Yeah.
It also, for those men in the room, it is Father's Day on the 19th as well. So you get an extra long weekend to celebrate you too. But I think it's just really important that we recognize when it is and the importance of that day. So.
And I believe the DSC is actually planning a small event, a Juneteenth event on Schoolhouse Road.
Wonderful.
So, yeah, and they'll announce that accordingly, I'm sure, with the details.
HDC, Historic District Commission, we had a special meeting on Tuesday the 10th. We actually had a hybrid meeting where some of us were here in person and some members were zoomed in, and we had a full agenda. We had 10 items, and all of them, I believe, were approved. Because we had our special meeting on the 10th and our next meeting is scheduled for tomorrow, we don't have any applications, so we're going to postpone our next meeting until June if we get any applications.
A well-deserved stay.
Yes.
Yes, good.
Yes.
Thank you.
With the planning commission, I mentioned before, there was not a meeting on May 2nd. The next meeting is supposed to be June 6th at 7 p.m. That's all I have to report.
Thank you.
I've got an update for the cable people who watch television. If you get AMC Plus, it's going to go up by $2 from $6.99 to $8.99. That's the bad news, but I got good news too. Here we go. Channel 1 Russia, RTR Planeta and Rossiya 24. I can't. It's been too long. I was going to try it.
You were going to say it in Spanish.
I was going to try and say Russian, but
I mean, say Russian, yeah.
it's been too long.
Yeah.
But anyway, these channels are being dropped, and I researched them. They're owned by a foreign government, so good riddance.
Good riddance. All right. Thank you.
So no longer available, not that the price has been dropped.
No, AMC Plus, which people care about, is going
It's
up.
going up.
The Russian ones are gone.
Gone.
Okay, just
And
wanted
they
to
are owned
clarify.
they're owned by the Russian government, and
Comcast has sanctioned Channel 24. Is that what I'm hearing?
basically.
Perfect.
And I'm quite delighted. So
Excellent.
anyway, that's all I got.
Thank you, Councilman Dyer. Thank you. I only have one announcement with respect to all of the rage we spoke at our last meeting. We spoke about a meeting to be held between the town of Sykesville and the Warfield developers and DHCD, the Department of Housing and Community Development. And I did get an opportunity to speak to DHCD's Chief of Staff last week when I was at the National Main Street Conference in Richmond. She extended a welcome to me to have a conversation with her so we could kind of set expectations for and hopes for a very productive meeting. And that meeting has not yet been scheduled, but it is going to be scheduled for the week of June 6th. And I did speak with Deputy Secretary McAvoy this afternoon, and he indicated that I will be receiving that invitation for the meeting for the week of June 6th tomorrow. So more to come on that. And I'll be looking to any and all the council members, should you, throughout the week, to please reach out between now and June 6th with any and all concerns you'd like me to tuck away and add to a list when we're in meetings. Okay? So we're about to go into closed session, so let me read this. This notice. The meeting is proposed to be closed pursuant to the general provisions. I'm sorry, Joe. Did you have any other staff updates? Holy
Actually,
smokes.
you all covered them. Actually, so that was perfect.
All right, wonderful. Thank you. All right, I'll start again. The meeting is proposed to be closed pursuant to the general provisions article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, Section 3-305B. 1, to discuss the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom it has jurisdiction, or any other personnel matter that affects one or more specific individuals. And this evening, it will be a personnel-related town manager review, confidential personal information. So may I have since nobody's here to leave except the treasurer and our administrator, we will very easily not have to go into recess. Let's just make a motion to go into closed session if we can.
So moved.
All right, thank you. A second? Thank you. So for the record, that was Councilman Grassley with the motion and Councilman Dyer with the second. All in favor to go in closed session?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed? Okay. We are now closed. Goodbye, Chief, and goodbye, Craig. And say what? Oh yes, I can do that. Yeah.
Where's the sign here? That's the audit engagement letters.
Yes.
Well, the budget sheet.